Hello and welcome to BioRules video lessons. Today we will talk about carbohydrates. Again, we took a quick look on carbohydrates before condensation hydrolysis. Now we're going to carry on talking a little bit more about carbohydrates, this very important biological molecule that we do love. All this stuff contains lots of carbohydrates. They contain the sugars, they contain the starch, they contain the cellulose. So all we have here, the pasta, the bread, the banana, the sweets, the honey, the sugar, those all contain carbohydrates. We love them because it is a very important source of energy for us. We saw before, this is just a revision, monosaccharides. Monosaccharides, they are one monomer, that means one ring. And I showed before glucose, they're important for energy. They are the main monomer that will make other disaccharides and polysaccharides. Okay? We have fructose, which is important for energy as well. And we have the ribose, which is important for structure of nucleic acids like DNA and RNA. We also have galactose, no structure required, as I told you before, because it's very similar to glucose, but it is the energy molecule in the milk because it makes lactose. Okay, so those are the monosaccharides. Now we're going to be seeing these disaccharides, which actually are not new for you. Okay, it's two monomers together, so basically they are two monomers, two rings joined by condensation. So we have the maltose. Maltose, you saw this before in the condensation class, is when we join two glucose together. So two glucose is going to be making maltose. There it is. Then we have sucrose. We also saw this in the previous class when you join glucose and a fructose together. So glucose and fructose. And they make the delicious table sugar. There it is. And finally, when we bond lactose, we make a glucose plus a galactose that makes the milk sugar. And that some people are intolerant to lactose because they don't have lactase, because they cannot break the glucose from the galactose. They cannot do the hydrolysis of the lactose. No molecular formula for this necessary because they just look very similar to maltose. Very similar but not identical. Okay. Now, this here is new stuff. Let's talk about polysaccharides. Polysaccharides means many monomers, many rings. In this case, here is going to be many, like thousands of them. Okay, and one very important polysaccharide is starch. We also love it because we make bread with it, pasta, pizza. No, we love starch. And starch actually is found in nature in two different versions. Okay, both of them is glucose bonded together, all down links. I'll tell you what downlink is in a moment, okay? There you have an amylose, is one version of starch, and you also have amylopectin, another version of starch. So they are many, 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 many. Here represented with just a few of them, but many, 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 many glucoses bonded together. It is the energy storage carbohydrate for plants. Plants make starch to store energy. Let's take a closer look on the amylose and amylopectin. Here, amylose and amylopectin. And as I told you, we have all down links. See here the oxygen is down, here the oxygen is down, here the oxygen is down. All of them have down links. The oxygen is going down, down, down. In the amylose and in amylopectin, you see all down, 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 and down. The difference from amylose to amylopectin is that amylose is one string. It's one, goes on and on and on and on and on like this. And amylopectin is branched because once in a while there is one branch that connects to another branch over here. So basically it branches from one main string. So here we have both together. On the left, bottom left, we have here a picture showing both of them. On the top, an amylose, on the bottom, an amylopectin. And if you want to see how it looks like, amylose is this all twisted but one string of glucose. And amylopectin is this all branched, very, 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 very branched series of strings, but all connected together of glucose, making the amylopectin. Okay? So, another polysaccharide, glycogen. Glycogen is very, very, very similar to amylopectin. So what's the difference? Oh, looking here, you don't see any difference. Look, it's the same, down, 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 all down. Side branches, the same stuff. The difference is over here. Amylose, as I told you, is one string twisted. Amylopectin branched. Glycogen branched in slightly different way. The difference is not much in what they look like or how we can describe them. The difference is who make them. Amylose and amylopectin is made by plants. Glycogen is made by animals for storage. Animals' liver and animals' muscle contain glycogen, contain sugar. And this is the reason why when we grill meat, the meat becomes brownish. What becomes brownish is caramel. It's sugar burnt. When we burn sugar, it becomes caramel. That meat is brown, brownish where it burns, not because of the proteins, not because of the lipids, but because of the sugar, the glycogen contained in its cells. Finally, one more polysaccharide that you need to know. This is quite an important one. Cellulose. You've certainly heard about cellulose before. Cellulose is a fibrous polysaccharide. It's quite similar to amylose, but it's much more straight. And why is it straight? The difference is here clear on us. Starch, amylose, they have all down, down, down links. And because it's down, you have sugar down, 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 down. They twist all in the same direction. While the cellulose, they have up and down, up and down. So it goes up and then down, and then up and then down, and then up and then down. So it ends up becoming a much more straight molecule. So this here is the difference between an amylose and a cellulose. Okay, it's a fiber that's used for structure in cell wall, in lignin, in plants. So if you see wall, xylem for example, it's mainly the cell wall of the plants is made by cellulose. Wood is cellulose. And if you get paper, paper is cellulose made of wood. Okay, the difference between them, if you want to be a little bit more technical, is because the amylose is made by alpha glucose. If you see here in this image on the left here, you see that the hydroxyls, they are both projected to the same side. It's not necessarily down, but no, to the same side of the three-dimensional glucose. And if you look here on the right, we'll see that the one of the hydroxyls is to one side, the other hydroxyl is to the other side. This is a beta configuration. So starch is make 1,4 linkage of alpha glucose. So alpha glucose, because they have both to the same side. So the 1 and the 4 are to the same side. So they make down, and then the same side down, and then the same side down, and then down, and so on. And the cellulose is a 1,4 linkage of beta group. So it's down here, so it will be up over there, and then it's down here, and then it's up, and then it's down. So that's the difference, an alpha configuration and a beta configuration. The alpha glucose configuration, both hydroxyls are to the same side, making all down, 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 and the beta configuration, the hydroxyls are to different opposite directions, making up, down, up, down, up, down. This is the difference between them. So amylose, it twists all over here, and cellulose, they branch and branch and branch. And one more thing that I forgot to mention here is those number 1, 4, 1, 6. If we look here, not here, I've seen this guy here. If you look here, we have carbon 1, carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, carbon 5, carbon 6. So in amylose, you have 1, 4 connections. What that means is the carbon 1 with the carbon 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Carbon 1 to carbon 4. Carbon 1 to carbon 4. But when you get amylopectin, you have 1, 4 glycosidic bonds, alpha, of course, but you also have 1, 6. We have here carbon 1 connected to the carbon 6 over there. So you have 1, 4, but you have the branches that are made by 1, 6 connections. Okay? I hope you had fun, and now take a time to do the quiz and make sure that you remember this for a long time. Bye bye, see you in the next class.